You're listening to the Astromommy Daily Horoscope, a forecast that hopes to shine a light in the dark, helping us all see where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. Whether you're a first-time listener or a long-time subscriber, thanks for being here. I truly appreciate you being in the Astromommy community. I hope you enjoyed today's horoscope and card reading. If you would like to support the Astromommy newsletter, there are several ways to do so. Subscribe on Substack, share it with a friend, schedule a reading, check out my family's Etsy shop, Metaphysical Flamingo, or just leave a tip. Without further ado, here is the Daily Horoscope. Mercury Retrograde in Capricorn starts tomorrow. All 12 signs horoscopes. Daily horoscope for Wednesday and Thursday, December 28th through the 29th, 2022. Good morning, friends. Well, last weekend was an interesting one with the power outage we experienced and the crazy freezing temperatures that swept across the nation. I hope everyone's power is back on and that you all are staying warm. I was not able to record the read aloud version of the weekend forecast, but I am planning on doing it for the archive. So if you see that podcast and read aloud suddenly appear, that is what that is all about. Also, I mentioned that I was going to post the horoscopes for the Mercury Retrograde, all 12 signs, by Friday of this week, but those are actually in today's post. Somehow in my brain, the Mercury Retrograde was beginning on Friday, but it is actually starting tomorrow, early in the morning. So we are diving into those horoscopes today. Okay, let's get into the astrology. In the following graphic that I made are the stages of the Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. Mercury entered the shadow period on December 12th, 2022, and will station retrograde on December 29th, 2022. He will then station direct on January 19th, 2023, and leave the post-shadow period on February 7th, 2023. So before we get into the horoscopes, I want to first take a look at the event chart for this Mercury retrograde, which I have cast for 4:31 a.m. Eastern Time, using whole sign houses and the program Solar Fire. You can see the chart pictured below. Mercury retrogrades can usually bring up issues with technology, machines, and transportation, so be especially mindful of mishaps and delays with computers, phones, and automobiles. Delays of the mail are very likely as well. You can see that Scorpio rises and Mercury is in Capricorn in the cadent third house of the event chart. What this means is that there is a transformational quality that is serious and practical, but may be delayed due to environmental circumstances creating an inability to bring forth the desired change in the desired time frame. Also that Mars, the traditional domicile ruler of Scorpio, and Pluto, the modern ruler of Scorpio, both may play a big role for everyone during this Mercury retrograde. This makes a lot of sense since Mars is in Gemini, one of the homes for Mercury, and thus feels very mercurial already. In fact, I've heard several people remark during this Mars retrograde that it has felt very, quote, Mercury retrograde-y, unquote. And Pluto is in Capricorn, the exaltation of Mars, and obviously the very sign that Mercury is retrograding in. Mercury is also making a sesquiquadrate to Mars at this time, and that could definitely indicate that things you've already put in motion have delays and setbacks. Waiting could be a big theme to look out for. Impatience while waiting and the desire to push things through with much labor, toil, and trouble could also be prevalent. Mercury and Venus are conjoined at the start of Mercury's retrograde, and so relationships of all kinds, aesthetics and beauty, sex, sexuality, sensuality, pleasures, and recreation, as well as money and finances could be additional themes to watch for during this retrograde. After Mercury and Venus conjoin, Venus will continue to move forward and meet up with Pluto on January 1st, 2023, essentially bringing whatever message Mercury shared with her to Pluto. This is all very interesting since last year Venus went retrograde in Capricorn right after conjoining Pluto, and then 9 and 10 days later, Mercury conjoined Venus and then conjoined Pluto respectively. So here we have another Venus, Mercury, and Pluto dance, but this time it's Venus meeting up with Pluto instead of Mercury, and Mercury won't meet up with Pluto until February 10th, 2023, which will be after he has stationed direct and left the post-shadow period. Another thing that is interesting is that Uranus is in the 7th house, indicating a sudden change or breakthrough in regard to relationships. Unexpected people getting together or unanticipated breakups could be common during this retrograde. The Moon and Neptune are separating from a conjunction in the 5th house, symbolizing an illusion of pregnancy or an illusion of faith, dishonest creations, or some sort of disillusionment that is leaving. Or it could mean beautiful music, art, or theater that creates feelings of hope, faith, and salvation. The moon at the last degree of Pisces is a very stressful degree for the moon and could mean people losing their minds, wallowing, feeling depressed, and emotional toilet bowl dives. This feels like change is imminent with the moon at the last degree of Pisces. Something else fascinating is that every visible planet is visible at night right now and is, quote, of the evening. So that is a fun thing for all of you stargazers out there. Also, Mercury has just entered the 3-degree range of engagement with Pluto, but then he turns retrograde. So there could be the feeling like something was going to be uncovered or an announcement was going to be made, but then there's a backtracking or a change of mind that is happening. Like the messenger, Mercury, has to go back to the drawing board and revise, review, and reflect before he can have the conversation with Pluto. This could be symbolic of people wanting to say something that is deep and revealing, but changing their minds because they feel they need to think it over more before they bring it up. So as I go through the horoscopes for each of the 12 signs, just keep in mind that the overall themes of this Mercury retrograde are transformational, relational, practical, and have a serious tone to them. Okay, let's get started. Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, horoscopes for all 12 signs. Here is a short horoscope for each sign for the Mercury retrograde starting on December 29th, 2022 and ending on January 19th, 2023. This will make the most sense if you read your rising sign. Aries. This Mercury retrograde in Capricorn will be in your 10th house of career, public recognition, and your mother. You can expect to have to review, reevaluate, and reassess how you put yourself out in the world, the work you do for a living, and/or the relationship with your mother. Mercury governs over your 3rd house of siblings and community and your 6th house of sickness and stress. And so there could be something that comes up involving your siblings, neighbors, health, hard work, labor, sacrifice, selfless service, or things that frustrate you. And one or a few of these things could affect your work environment. With the moon in Pisces at the final degree in your 12th house of self-undoing and your blind spots, your circumstances are about to change dramatically. You may feel like you are suddenly in a foreign country with no allies, or like you've been kicked out of the house but allowed to camp on the porch, and this could come from some sort of unconscious pattern that is revealed. During this Mercury retrograde, you are strategizing how to effectively climb the mountain so that you don't slide back down it. A serious change may take place in your career or the work that you do and how you do it. Taurus. This Mercury retrograde in Capricorn will be in your 9th house of beliefs, foreign travel, and higher education. You can expect to have to review, reevaluate, and reassess your travel plans, your beliefs about life, or your educational goals. It could feel like you are going against the grain and trying to push situations through when they don't want to budge. With Mars and Gemini retrograde in your 2nd house of money and possessions, this could have to do with some sort of financial issue. Maybe you are waiting for a payment to come through, or perhaps you are waiting for an item you paid for to be delivered. With Mercury and Venus conjoining at the start and Venus and Pluto coming together during this retrograde period in the 9th house of beliefs, ideologies, and philosophies, you could experience a serious change in your attitudes towards Venusian things like love, money, sex, sensuality, pleasure, art, etc. With the moon in the final degree of Pisces in your 11th house of friends and allies, there could be a major change involving the groups that you associate with that has to do with the beliefs that you share or don't share. Gemini. This Mercury retrograde in Capricorn will be in your 8th house of death, debts, other people's money, and soul contracts. You can expect to have to review, reevaluate, and reassess your shared finances, your debts and loan commitments, and/or the estates of others who have passed away. There could also be the transformation of soul contracts, what you karmically owe someone else or what they karmically owe you, and how those debts are going to be settled up. There could be the feeling that you are trying to swim upstream, going against the current with Mars and Gemini retrograde in your 1st house, and physical ailments could resurface or flare up. With Mercury and Venus conjoining in your 8th house, intimate relationships that have deep bonds could come up and need some revision, reflection, and reevaluation. There could be the feeling like a karmic debt has come due, or maybe literally there is a bill that comes up during this retrograde period that you forgot about or that is unexpected. With the moon in Pisces at the final degree in your 10th house of career, public recognition, and your mother, a major shift in how you put yourself out there or your relationship with your mother could be a huge theme for this period. Cancer. This Mercury retrograde in Capricorn will be in your 7th house of relationships and partnerships and could bring forth a serious change in those areas. Because Venus and Mercury are conjunct at the start of this retrograde, and Venus will conjoin Pluto shortly thereafter in this house, you can expect a deep transformation around love, relationships, sexuality, and pleasure. There could be a focus on your partner and the changes that they are going through and how those changes affect the relationship. There could be serious changes to your marriage or committed relationships. This could include a business relationship as well. You can expect revisions, reflections, and reevaluations of your partnerships and how they are evolving. With the moon in Pisces at the final degree in your 9th house of beliefs, this could indicate a major shift in how you see a relationship philosophically. I would also like to note that the seventh house has to do with your open enemies, including court cases, and as such, this could indicate legal issues. So if there are any legal matters that you have procrastinated taking care of, they could come up during this retrograde and you could be forced to deal with them. Especially because Mars is in Gemini in your 12th house of self-undoing and your blind spots, and Mars rules over your 10th house of authority figures. This is like getting pulled over and finding out that your license has been suspended because of a parking ticket you forgot to pay. So just don't let unfinished legal matters bite you in the butt. You can use this retrograde period to go back and handle any of these matters instead. Leo. This Mercury retrograde in Capricorn will be in your 6th house of service, sickness, and stress. There could be a need to revisit something with your health or an area of your life where you are working hard and sacrificing a lot, or something that is causing you a considerable amount of stress. Since Mercury and Venus are conjunct at the start of this retrograde, and Venus will also conjoin Pluto during this period, this brings up relationships and love. If there is a relationship that has been causing you a lot of stress, this is a time when you may feel the need to go back over things so that you can forgive and let go. With the moon in Pisces at the final degree in your 8th house of soul contracts, this indicates a major change regarding an important relationship that had to do with security, shared resources, and a karmic bond. Virgo. This Mercury retrograde in Capricorn will be in your 5th house of pleasure and recreation, creativity, children, and pregnancy. Since Mercury will be conjunct Venus at the start of this retrograde, and then Venus will conjoin Pluto during this period, you can expect the need to revise and reevaluate your relationships with Venusian things like sex, pleasure, money, values, and how you have fun, etc. With Mars and Gemini retrograde still in your 10th house of career, there could be a feeling of needing to get things done at work before you allow yourself rest and relaxation. This could be challenging during this retrograde and could come with some delays and setbacks that are aggravating. With the moon at the last degree of Pisces at the start of this retrograde, there could be a big change regarding relationships and soul contracts that brings forth a dramatic shift. Libra. This Mercury retrograde in Capricorn will be in your 4th house of home, family, your roots, the father, as well as land and property. You can expect changes around the home environment, your feelings of security, and what makes a home feel like a home. With Venus and Mercury conjunct at the start of this retrograde and Venus conjoining Pluto during, there could be serious transformations around your roots and familial patterns that have to do with Venusian topics, such as love, sexuality, and sensuality, pleasures, values, and money. With the moon in Pisces at the 29th degree at the moment of this retrograde, there could be a big change regarding your selfless service to others and how much work, labor, and stress you're willing to take on. You may also enter into a relationship or contract that feels like a new beginning or the start of a new foundation. It may feel odd and unfamiliar, but it is part of the bigger plan. Scorpio. This Mercury retrograde in Capricorn will be in your 3rd house of siblings, community, and communication. Reflections, revisions, and reevaluations surrounding your way of communicating with your siblings or your neighbors could come up. Since Mercury is conjunct Venus at the start of this retrograde and Venus will conjoin Pluto during, there could be serious changes and transformations surrounding Venusian topics such as money, sex, and pleasures, especially in how they relate to your daily routines, habits, and ways of thinking about things. With the moon in Pisces in the last degree at the start of this retrograde, there may be a big change in circumstances surrounding how you have fun or experience recreational activities. Sagittarius. This Mercury retrograde in Capricorn will be in your 2nd house of money, finances, and the development of your skills and abilities. This Mercury retrograde could bring about serious changes in regard to how you spend, allocate, or save your resources, depending upon what you already have, what you need, or what you want. With Mercury and Venus conjoined at the start of this retrograde and Venus conjoining Pluto in your 2nd house during, you could experience a big transformation in Venusian things related to the 2nd house. So this could be how you see and value money and possessions, as well as what pleasurable things you are spending your time and energy on. Since this is the 2nd house, which also represents the food and beverages you consume, this may bring about a change in consumption. Venusian foods and drinks could be the focus, aphrodisiacs and anything sweet and sugary and intoxicating like alcohol. With the moon in Pisces in the final degree at the beginning of this retrograde, you could feel like going out on a limb and trying new and exotic foods, activities, or pleasures. Capricorn. This Mercury retrograde in Capricorn will be in your 1st house of self, health, identity, and your physical body. You may experience a revision or reassessment of how you care for your body, mind, and soul. This could indicate changes to your appearance that you feel are more in alignment with your authentic self. With Mercury conjunct Venus at the start of this retrograde and Venus conjoining Pluto during, you could experience deep transformational changes regarding love, relationships, and your values that tie in somehow to your image and personality or what you are attracting into your life. With Mars and Gemini retrograde in your 6th house of sickness, stress, and service, figuring out when you need to push yourself and when you need to rest may come into focus. With the moon in Pisces in the last degree, there could be a change to your environment that challenges who you are and what you're about. Aquarius. This Mercury retrograde in Capricorn will be in your 12th house of self-undoing, confinement, and hidden enemies. Because the 12th house is associated with unconscious behaviors and patterns that can often be our blind spots, whatever comes about during this retrograde may be going on behind the scenes rather than out in the open or even in your conscious awareness. This includes your hidden enemies, which are people you know that don't have your best interests at heart and stab you in the back, so to speak. Since Mercury is conjunct Venus at the start of this retrograde and Venus will conjoin Pluto during, this could bring up a lot about relationships, love, and sexuality, especially things that you've not been consciously dealing with. People may experience things being revealed that are unhealthy, toxic, or hurtful that need to be thought about and planned for in a practical, serious way. With the moon in Pisces in the final degree at the start of this retrograde, there could be an immediate shift or illumination of these hidden patterns that emerge, and even though you may feel uncomfortable and exposed, purposely going toward feeling strong, complete, and joyful will help ease the change. Pisces. This Mercury retrograde in Capricorn will be in your 11th house of friends, allies, hopes, and wishes. So this retrograde may arouse a change in your social networks or groups. With Mercury and Venus conjunct at the start of this retrograde and Venus conjoining Pluto during, you may feel a deep transformation surrounding how you interact with your friends or spend quality time. What you love and value could be going through a change, and the very thing that used to unite certain friendships may not be there anymore, or new common interests may spark new friendships. Either way, the networks that you want to be part of may go through an adjustment. With Mars and Gemini retrograde, there may already be actions that have been taken towards your new foundation that may experience some delays during this Mercury retrograde. It's like the builders are scheduled, but you have to wait for the materials you want. With the moon in Pisces in the final degree in your 1st house of self, there could be a really big change to your appearance or physique that requires acceptance and support from your friend groups. Those who support your new look and lifestyle will be keepers, and those who don't, won't. I would love to know if this horoscope resonates with you and what your Mercury retrograde experience is like. Please leave a comment. I hope this is helpful. Until Friday, Astro Mummy.
Thank you for reading or listening to the Daily Horoscope. Quick links and resources can be found at the bottom of the newsletter. If you purchase anything through the affiliate links that I provide in the newsletters, I will make a small commission, but there are no additional costs to you. I don't share or recommend things that I don't 100% believe and use myself. Thanks for listening.